there are too many alerts, too many vulnerabilities. What do I need to fix first? And that was kind of an aha moment for us. We solved the problem for our customers who were dealing with 2 million vulnerabilities. Actually, less than 3% were the real vulnerabilities that we were supposed to fix it. Do not focus on the noise, just fix what matters.
How different is it founding and starting and launching a company in the US versus India? Regulations, the networking, that's got to be a pretty different thing, right?
The first 6 months was a nightmare for me, balancing family as well as new business, new terrain. The consumer behavior in the States is completely different compared to the Asia Pacific. Entrepreneurship is kind of a roller coaster ride, and if you don't have the right partner beside you, that ride gonna be a nightmare. You take one small topic inside the cyber, there are hundreds of products out there. And I'm sure that CISOs and the CISO's office are too overwhelmed with so many products out there. And it is not the product that they're gonna buy primarily, it is you that they're gonna trust and then buy the product. You're not selling, you're solving a problem.
What is something that's been on your mind that is not being addressed in security that either you guys are directly solving or that you think just needs to be solved in the market right now?
Every day we see new things that's coming up, new things are evolved. The internet era, we have seen in 5 years some great changes. But here, every day there's something or the other new coming up in AI.
What are you doing to kind of build the brand for Strobes?
So I'm a big believer of inbound outbound strategy together. It's not just focusing on one channel. Multi-touch point is something that I strongly believe in. And as per the research, I think there are 12 touch points that you need to have to get the eyeballs towards your website or towards your LinkedIn. That's what we believe.
Welcome to a very special edition of Off Script, the Cyberwhyze Podcast, where we talk to leaders in security about how they founded their companies, have marketed it, and scaled their business. Today, we have a very special guest, someone who I connected with on LinkedIn about a year ago, Venu Rao, there we go, the co-founder and CEO of Strobes Security, one of the leading platforms in continuous threat exposure management. You have over a decade of experience scaling B2B SaaS companies and helping enterprises reduce cyber risk at speed. You are redefining how businesses approach vulnerability management in a world where threats evolve much faster than the defenses do. I don't want to assume too much or speak too much on your behalf, but I'll let you do a little more of a formal interview.
Sure. So hi, thanks for this. I really appreciate Elena for inviting me here in the Blackhat conference backdrop. It's too much of noise out there. But yeah, so it's been almost like 10 years that we are in this business, and Strobes is not just out of the blue that we have created the product. There's a lot of grinding behind that, okay? So we started our journey in 2016 as WeSecure app, a pen testing company, to be precise, So we did tons of penetration testing for applications, network, and cloud. And then we realized majority of our customers and partners were having challenges in the vulnerability management space. And that was kind of a movement that, okay, we were always inclined towards building products, but we were never jumped onto to build something out of the blue. But we really want to learn the problems of our customers and then build a product. So that was a time when we realized that the customers or the industry is facing challenges in the vulnerability management space because you get vulnerabilities from various sources. You have internal pen testing team, you have vendors, pen testing vendors, you have vulnerability scanners, and other ways like attack surface management, alerts, and so on and so forth. So the problem the industry was facing was there are too many alerts, too many vulnerabilities. What do I need to fix first? And that was kind of an aha moment for us, to move from the typical pen testing consulting towards vulnerability management. And from around the pandemic time is what we pivoted. And from then onwards, no looking back, we built on some great engines of prioritization, automation. And today, I can proudly say that, we are a full-blown continuous threat exposure management company.
And does that include pen test as a service as well too?
Absolutely. So pen test as a service is one of the module under CTEM framework. Because as I said, threat exposure management, what is threats? Threats come in different forms and shapes. And that are vulnerabilities coming from pen testing, coming from vulnerability scanners, coming from attack surface or bug bounty. Could be anything. So pen test as a service is integral part of a CTEM.
Yes, that makes sense. Now, let's kind of go back a little further. What were you doing before Strobes Security? What kind of led you to that path?
So before Strobes, it's, as I said, pen testing consulting company. In 2016, we started the name of WeSecure app. We started with that. So, but prior to that, I had another startup called Shastra GPS. So we were one of the first companies back in India to develop a vehicle tracking system way back in 2010 when there was no cloud, There was no 4G or 5G, and in fact, there was no smartphones. So we built a technology that actually tracks vehicles with the help of text messages, and we had rack servers back in our office because there was no SaaS. So we did all phenomenal work back in the days, when there was no high tech or cloud or so on and so forth. So I did that. I exited that in India, and then took a break. Then I worked with a company called Fujiyama Technologies. I was their business head for the Asia Pacific market, to run the show. And then we were very interested in the cyberspace because my brother, who's my co-founder and CTO, he's a hacker, and I've seen his hacking skills. And I thought, okay, this is pretty interesting. And my another co-founder, who was in States back then, was working with large telecom companies doing project management in technology type space. And we thought, okay, let's build some cybersecurity company because we all come from different backgrounds and we can together solve the problems in the cybersecurity space. So that's been from the GPS industry or the vehicle tracking industry to to the cybersecurity industry. That's my journey.
Amazing. Yeah, and were you born and raised in India
Yeah.
yourself? Okay. So did you go to college, for a specific major that led to, your career ending up in security, or what did the college years
Oh,
look like?
right. So the entrepreneurship bug was there right from my engineering days. So I did my engineering in India, then I did my master's in India in business administration. But this the entrepreneurial bug was always there on my mind. And I worked for a couple of years before I started off this the technology company called Shastra GPS, and I moved to the States in 2022. Okay, that was a time I believed that okay. We build a product. The big market out there is in the States, and there's no point for me to be in India and market in the United States. So I thought it's the best time for me to move here with phenomenal product and the backing of pen testing, and with no experience in US, but I still moved here with the family. That was a big step, and no regrets. The first 6 months was a nightmare for me, balancing family as well as new business, new terrain. The consumer behavior in the States is completely different when compared to the Asia Pacific. So I learned in a very hard way. Okay. But then today I can proudly say that over 60% of our revenue is coming from US.
That's something to be very proud of. I think a lot of people that I've even worked with in India, that's a dream that they hold, right? They know that if whether they're even like on the marketing side or design side, they can only charge a certain rate, only get so much value operating out of India. A few of them kind of cracked, the code and figured out how to charge US prices even though they're out of India. But these are people that I feel like think just very different,
Yep.
right? It's almost like, were you born in the States and then moved to India? Nope. But they have followed enough like influencers, thought leaders, CEOs in the path of, a lot of people that have started companies here locally, and have done really well for it. What I'm curious of is how different is it founding and starting and launching a company in the US versus India? Regulations, the networking, like that's got to be a pretty different thing, right?
See, the startup ecosystem is like 10x better in the States when compared to India. That's for sure. I can definitely say that because I've been a founder there, and now I'm running a successful company here. So the ecosystem, the startup ecosystem, be it in the Valley or be it in the New York or be it in Texas, that's where I am, is it's completely different, when compared to the Indian startup ecosystem, and especially when it comes to cyber. Oh my God, like I'll say 100x different in the states.
Compliance and standards are a little different. I mean, with pen tests, you got HIPAA, PCI DSS, you have all these extra regulations that you have to adhere to. Maybe the market conditions wouldn't have even been right in India to do what you're doing here, right?
Yeah, I mean, the initial days, I had that feeling that in India, cybersecurity is like a checkbox. Okay, I have the ISO compliance done, I'm safe. So compliance is just a checkbox, but it's not the real security. But when compared to the US enterprises over here, it's a little different. It's not a checkbox. They really take security seriously. They want the security by design, by people, by technology. But in every like you call as people, process, and technology, they want security in every uh, you know sphere of all these things. That's what the US companies look at. But having said that, off late I have seen the Indian companies are very serious in security as well, thanks to the regulatory bodies like RBI, SEBI, the IRDA, and so on and so forth. So the lot of the regulatory and compliance bodies in India now have enforced companies to ensure that security is not just probably a technology thing, but it's a boardroom discussion now.
Yeah.
So now, yeah, but I'll say the US is 10 years ahead when compared to India.
Interesting. So do you still have friends and family that are kind of following your journey back home and seeing what you're building here and that are kind of cheering you on, or what is that like?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely, it was a very tough journey for me. Okay, and everybody, like you rightly said, everybody aspires to do business in the states. Okay, sitting in India, doing business in the states, it's not an easy thing, especially when it comes to cybersecurity. Here,
Yeah.
cybersecurity, it's all about trust, right? You just can't outsource anything and everything to India when it comes to cyber. So I realized that, and that's the reason why I moved here. And majority of the startup founders over there, they reach out to me, ask me, "Hey, how did you crack the code? Can you help us out?" I gave them my 2 cents always. I said, sitting in India, it won't happen, buddy.
Mm.
You need to move and come here, sit,
Yeah.
network, talk to people, socialize and build that credibility and trust, and then only you can sell. Otherwise, it's gonna be a dream. That's it.
And then there's all the layers of maybe getting a work visa, traveling out here, convincing the wife and kids, dad's going to be back. So did you have a period where you were coming here by yourself first to meet, network, and then you moved the family, or what did that kind of look like?
Yeah. So the best part was my co-founder was here.
Okay.
Okay, he's a chief co-founder and chief operations officer, COO. He was here in Dallas, and then we actually switched our roles, not roles, sorry, we switched our geographies. He moved back to India. I moved here.
Yeah.
So yeah, prior to that, I used to come here for the RSA and the Blackhat conference. That I thought that's the best way to start. Talk to people. I was going around the booths, talk to a lot of founders, how they're doing sales, and also for 2018, 2019, just before pandemic, 2 years, I was here for a few months. I understand that, okay, it's very challenging just to come here for a couple of weeks, a few weeks and do business. Then I decided, no, it won't happen.
Yeah.
I have to take that hard step, moving with family. Like I have kids, when I moved here, my kids were 6 years. I have twins.
Mm.
My wife was, comfortably settled in India with her job.
Mm.
But it is what it is. I have to take that step because it's my dream to build a business, grow here, exit here, and bring value to all my stakeholders. And I was like happy and lucky that my wife supported me, and then we all moved here.
Yeah, I could say the same thing. My wife is actually down, I think, at the lazy river at the Mandalay Pool right now with the kids. We brought them along for this trip, but she's been my biggest fan, my biggest champion. She had worked, for 20 something years of her career and stopped working maybe about 6 months ago so that she could help support the house more, support me in the business. And we kind of joked because I was like, hey, I'm going to retire you. A couple months later, she's like, now I just have a full-time job at Cyberwhyze helping you guys out. So all the merch and stuff you see over there, that's her job. She set that up,
Oh wow,
help coordinate a lot of the stuff. But it's like, yeah, people don't realize it's not just your business partner that's going to help you get to the next level. It's your marital partner, it's your spouse.
100%.
And then a lot of times, some of your biggest fans is your kids.
Yeah.
Right. My son was in here earlier and he's like, Dad's going to be on TV. In his mind, he's like, oh, this is television. It's like a movie. And I said, sure, that is the case. But it's important for us to have that momentum of our family and our friends behind us because we have to go through so many battles where I think the average and sane person would give up.
100%.
You do have to be a little psychotic to go through all of the hoops that we have to jump through to get here.
100%. I always say that entrepreneurship is kind of a roller coaster ride. And if you don't have the right partner beside you, that ride gonna be a nightmare. And I was really lucky that initially my parents supported me, and then my partner. So I had that cushion from my family, and I'm really lucky for that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, let's talk a little bit about, why you're here at Blackhat, right? What your kind of goals are. And then we could even then talk a little bit about what you're talking about, like, this whole video marketing thing. How can it play into Strobe's potential future and what you guys can do to leverage that? So let's start off with Blackhat. What are the high level goals here? Meeting with partners, clients. What do you set out to do?
Yeah, I mean, conferences like Blackhat and RSA are like pretty energizing for us, for cyber founders especially. Okay, and my main objective or objectives, I would say that first and foremost, you should always know who are your competitors are. Yeah, so I come here to see who are my competitors. Are there any new competitors out there? what are my competitors doing today?
Mm.
So whether you have your friend beside you or not, but you need to know your enemy. Is-
Absolutely. Just as well, if not better, right?
Absolutely. So that's what I do. So I follow my competitors. I want to see what they're doing, good, bad, and learn from them. Honestly speaking, it's not nothing negative about it, but it's
Mm.
just that what is that they're doing that we are not doing,
Mm.
and I would really love to learn from our competition. So that's what I do. That's the first thing. Second thing is obviously meet our existing customers and partners. It's a great place. Everybody are within 1 mile radius, and you can just hop on and meet as many people as possible. So the best thing that in fact, I told a couple of startup founders that how can you make the most out of these kind of conferences? Pre-book those meetings.
Yeah.
At least 1 month in advance. Try to contact your customers, your partners, and see where they are, and block the calendars and go and meet them. Because when you meet your partners and your customers, they are surrounded by other folks. You can get some new introductions, right? So, and also learn how is your pre-sales doing, how's your customer success doing. Are there any challenges with the platform? What's new or what more they want? It's you should always listen to your customers.
I think you just mentioned two things that a lot of founders can get tunnel vision. They don't want to focus on what the competitors are doing, which I think is a little bit of just an insecurity. Like, what if they're doing something better? And the other thing is like listening to what clients sometimes say that we don't want to hear, right? Like those are just being very, looking in the mirror. What is the market telling us? What are the competitors doing? People need to focus on that. And I feel like they're not doing that enough. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, in terms of pre-booking some of those meetings, I mean, any advice for people on doing it well? It seems like you're pretty connected. You have like 25,000 followers on LinkedIn. So I feel like you could just post, hey, who wants to meet up on LinkedIn? What advice do you have for people that are struggling to maybe book meetings? What has your secret sauce been so far?
That's a secret sauce.
Yeah. You're like, come to this restaurant, then people always show up.
No, no, no. I don't think so. It's a bar or the restaurant that motivates people to meet.
Yeah.
It's about, there has to be an objective and an agenda of a meeting. It's not just about meeting, the CISOs or the CISO's office
Mm.
would give you some time, right? So always think from their perspective that what is in it for me?
Yep.
Okay, what should I meet?
Yep.
Okay, I'm spending 15 minutes of time. What is it I'm going to get? Right. So I always send in my messages, I will say that, hey, we solve this problem for a customer in your space.
Mm.
Okay. For example, the LinkedIn message that worked out really well for me is that, and that's a true story. Okay, one of our customers, they're dealing with about 2 million vulnerabilities. Okay, and we all know that finding and fixing 2 million vulnerabilities is a myth. I'm like, you just cannot have zero vulnerabilities at any given point of time.
Yeah.
But the problem we solve for them is forget about the noise produced by 2 million vulnerabilities. Focus on what to fix first. And how can you focus is by prioritizing with 15 different parameters in real time. And Strobes helps you in figuring it out, what to fix first and how to fix it. Okay. So two things that companies always shy away is that one, the patch management team or the developers or whoever is responsible, they always have this question that why should I fix this vulnerability?
Mm.
We answer that by giving them not just score and why we have given that score. Is it exploitability? Is it asset sensitivity? Or is it asset exposure? Or is it the EPSS score? Or is it compliance? Whatever it may be. We give that reasoning as to why you fix it, why you should fix it, and second, how. So our AI agents will help you with those patch snippets or code snippets or whatever it may be to fix it.
Yeah.
So that was my LinkedIn message, very crisp, saying that, hey, we solved the problem for our customers who are dealing with 2 million vulnerabilities. And actually, less than 3% were the real vulnerabilities that we're supposed to fix it. And we helped them fix it. You want to know more about how we did it? Let's meet for 15 minutes. I'm going to explain you that.
That is interesting. I mean, you think of a company that, like, let's say a healthcare, like a SaaS platform in the healthcare space, they have to meet HIPAA compliance. If they have a vulnerability that could lead to an exploit, a ransom event that will take them out of HIPAA compliance, now they have downtime, revenue lost every minute, every day. So it sounds like you guys are really good at seeing probably the business impact on it too,
100%.
and not just alerts, 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 which is, what some people get stuck in. And some people market like, hey, you're going to get 2 million. No one wants 2 million alerts, right? They want to know, like, do we have something so imminent that it could put us out of business, that could, you know, move revenue away for weeks at a time that can
Correct.
really hurt us,
That's right.
right?
In fact, what you said is absolutely right. HIPAA compliance, one of the client. So our AI agent, what it does is once the scanners produces those vulnerabilities, Strobes AI agent scans through all the vulnerabilities and figure out the vulnerabilities that are not compliant with HIPAA, create a ticket, send it to Jira, send a snapshot of it via Slack, and all the respective stakeholders are get alerts saying that, hey, these 10 vulnerabilities are not compliant with HIPAA, and that is something that you need to fix first.
That is probably why you also want to move up to mid-market, larger size companies, because then you're solving bigger problems using the
Right.
same tools. So you essentially offer more value, bigger ticket clients. That makes total sense. That's interesting. So you're setting these meetings, you're telling people, don't just say, make it all about me. Identify what you solve that actually fixes a business problem for
Right.
them. Keep it short and crisp. In this particular case, I think I had reached out to you to have this, what we'll call a meeting almost like a year ago. I was like, hey, I saw you engaging with my content. I think I had boosted content to show up in front of any founder or co-founder of a security company. You fell into that category, and I think you just liked it. And to me, that's almost like if you were walking in public and someone waves at you and you're like, wait, do I know that person? So it shows that you consumed a little bit, you liked it. I sent a message. Initially, we were going to do like a remote podcast. Come full circle a year later, we're sitting here in person, right? And this is like our version of that 15-minute let's meet. Now you get to walk away with a beautifully produced podcast episode with a dozen video clips. I'm sure that even from the spouse, the kids, business partner, employees, and prospects will all see value
Yeah.
in this conversation because we're talking about a lot of different things. But that's crucial. And for us, and you and I kind of talked about it, like, what if Strobes did have something like this where you're like, hey, come to our media suite. Let's talk about your business. Let's not put everything out there. You guys have privacy stuff, but let's have some thought leadership conversations going. People very rarely turn this kind of setup down because they know that it's going to help them build their personal brand. There's a little element of like vanity to it.
Yeah.
And it's just a larger than life effect versus saying, hey, let's meet up in the lobby, right? Or like get a quick another coffee and wait in Starbucks for 30 minutes. So it's going to be cool to see if maybe you could leverage some of this too in the future. Now, outside of Blackhat, after you go home, it's back to business as usual. Obviously, you have certain strategic business priorities. We talked a little bit about looking at some of the leads you're even getting on the website today, which are a mix of small and mid market, but going a little more upstream,
Yeah.
getting larger clients because at the end of the day, you just want to help more people at scale and solve bigger problems. And if people are not consuming content that are in that right target market, you're going to just have a bunch of people. We call them tire kickers knocking lead. The salespeople are going to be complaining. This is too small. What are you doing to, I guess I would say at a very high level, what are you doing to kind of build the brand for Strobes besides just, one-to-one relationship building? What is the marketing team doing at a high level that's helping you guys out a lot today?
Yeah. I mean, so we have a pretty lean marketing team in house today.
Which is always a good thing. I'm a big fan of that. Yeah.
Yeah, because our people know what we do, right? And our people know what our customer requirements are. So to answer your question in short, I'm a big believer. I come from sales and marketing background. Yeah, so I'm a big believer of inbound outbound strategy together. It's not just focusing on one channel. Okay, multi touch point is something that I strongly believe in, and as per the research, I think there are 12 touch points that you need to have to get the eyeballs towards your website or towards your LinkedIn.
Yeah.
That's what we believe. And what we have done is a proper strategy of marketing wherein, we produce some phenomenal content around, especially our ebooks and white papers, talks a lot about how we make vulnerability management easy and CTEM and so on and so forth. Apart from that, we produce a lot of content around LinkedIn, about blogs and so on and so forth. So, yeah, so our content strategy, our push marketing, everything goes hand in hand. So it's not just about doing your SEO or content, but also we focus on our email marketing. We focus on our LinkedIn outreach campaigns. We recently started even cold calling as a part of one touch point. So in that way, we are doing a mix and match of all these things because, as I said, from a branding standpoint, I'm like, there are two things. You invest in branding, you invest in marketing. I differentiate branding and marketing because branding is elevating your company to as a thought leader,
Mm.
and elevating the founders as the problem solvers. Okay, so we want to build a brand in the CTEM space. We want to be known as one of the good company in the world that is solving real problems in the threat exposure space. So we want to invest in our branding. When it comes to marketing, our focus is more on content generation of leads and so on and so forth. That's how we divide and we invest.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, you hit on something interesting as far as a multi-touch, right? Which is a very fascinating space in security alone. We have clients where we manage their LinkedIn campaigns. LinkedIn will show you how many people will click from a video to a website, but then it shows you how many people reject cookies. So we saw with one of our clients, there was 2,000 cookie rejections,
Wow.
all the clicks to the website. So then you're going into this dark social. They're on the website. You don't know who's there. You can't track them. And, we talked about a little earlier. Well, what do you do when you have a bunch of people on the website that you don't know? You can't de anonymize them. They're not filling out forms, but maybe they are interacting on social media, right? Being able to build a bit of an outbound motion based off of some of these inbound signals
Correct.
is something that we're telling a lot of security companies to do because we do see a downward trend in mid-market enterprise CISOs wanting to fill out a form at the end of the day. Usually they're filling out a form as a part of an RFQ process, but they're already golfing. They already had dinners with the people that they really want to work out with. So by the time you're waiting for a form fill, it's almost a little too late. There's a stat Gartner put out, 82% of the buyer journey happens before someone fills out a form. It happens when they see your booth at Blackhat. It happens when they go to a CISO dinner. Happens when they go golfing with your team, and then they see maybe some of your marketing and targeting online. And then maybe after 3, 6, 9 months, they've warmed up. So on the marketing like attribution standpoint and multi-touch, we call it the 5-4-3 rule. With video, if you could get someone to consume 5 minutes of video, not 5 hours, 5 minutes, you could pack case study in there, short form, some thought leadership across 4 touch points over 3 channels. LinkedIn, YouTube, you could do Meta, LinkedIn, YouTube, email, LinkedIn, YouTube, Reddit, depending where the market is. 5 minutes of content, 4 touch points, 3 channels. That is really all you need. And technically, you and I are here on a podcast. I mean, you're a successful founder of a security company. Your time is precious, but you saw something in the little bit of content you saw of us, and it was not in an ebook.
Yeah.
You saw a video, you felt something, and you're like, hey, this seems legit. Let me go check this out.
100%.
So you want to elevate the brand quick. There's ways to do it through more kind of interactive, dynamic conversations. And what I would be surprised, and what I want to show you after we record this, we'll get it on YouTube, and you're going to see a peak in consumption time and subscription when you start talking about some of the more personal, intimate stuff, what this journey was like from India, balancing work life. People really love that stuff, and it humanizes you.
Yeah.
So when they see all these logos in Blackhat and then they remember the story of you, when they see, no offense to CrowdStrike or Palo Alto, they're not hearing the founder's story in the back of their head, right? And I think there's a huge opportunity for there just to be more of, like you're saying, this very trust-centric and authentic human-driven approach, which is what we are doing at Cyberwhyze with the video content. And I don't want to get too far into that, but back to your point, it is multiple touch points.
Yep.
It's not like, hey, we heard of you today. We're filling out a form. We're a customer tomorrow. Sales cycle, let's talk about that a little bit because depending as you go more upstream to mid-market enterprise, sales cycle is going to stretch out.
100%.
And then you're going to have to hire salespeople very similar to Gladdy over here who are used to working 6, 12, 18-month sales cycle. They want bigger base pay, better benefits, better comp packages. You can't just hire someone, for 60K that's a BDR and say, hey, go close a multi-million-dollar
Yeah.
deal. Tell me a little bit about the journey just in managing salespeople. You're one yourself, but has there been a learning curve with hiring and managing salespeople over the years too?
Yeah, absolutely. As you rightly said, when it comes to large enterprise customers, it takes about 12 months to 18 months, sometimes 24 months to close deal. But those deals are big deals. And yeah, I mean, majority of our customers today are in the mid market segment. But we aspire to get into the large enterprise. We have few customers in the Fortune 100, and with that experience, I can tell you that it takes about 12 to 18 months. The salesperson should have that persistent follow ups, be on top of them. Patience is something that's very very important for salespeople. But yeah, my experience with the salespeople, I myself sales, as I said, is that as long as you are very clear about your ICP, as long as you know that you're solving the right problems for your customers, and you can read between the lines that what the prospect is talking to you about. Is he trying to say no in a very gentle manner, and you should be able to get that, or he or she is trying to just take you for a ride. You need to know that as well.
Yeah.
You need to have that the smartness to really read between the lines and understand whether this particular prospect is going to buy today or not. If yes, then I believe that you need to give you 100%. You need to really understand what is their burning problem today. How can you help them? Be with them, whether they give you sale today or not, but be with them. Be a trusted person in the cybersecurity. This is what I tell my salespeople, that forget about whether you get a sale today or not, but build relationships. You're not selling, you're solving a problem. And it is not the product that they're going to buy primarily, it is you that they're going to trust and then buy the product. So all these things are very important for a salesperson.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's why when you start talking about longer sales cycles, if you're pulling an enterprise salesperson that came from another successful person, they already have a certain lifestyle. They have maybe a family and kids. And if you're only giving them, a 3-month ramp up to close a 9-month deal, a
No,
12-month deal, they're going to feel almost an unnecessary pressure
that's right.
to perform. Then they become very pesty with the client, trying to move them forward. So I think a lot of founders that I've seen throw several salespeople, even without building brand, building marketing, thinking it's going to be a one-call close, and then they're just burning through salespeople,
No.
and that's not a great brand reputation.
Oh, yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah, that's not the goal. So at the end of the day, I mean, the goal would be to speed up the sales cycle. Like I said, the goal would be that before they even engage with a salesperson, they've seen this conversation, they hear your story, and maybe they've seen a dozen short form videos along the way to kind of get to know you. Even if it's static content, like they've had those touch points, and the goal would be to speed up the sales cycle. Have you figured out anything in particular to speed up the sales
So
cycle?
more than yes, see, speeding up the sales cycle is one aspect of it, and second thing is, as you rightly said, if you're expecting the salesperson to close a 6 months sales cycle deal and within 3 months, which is pretty harsh.
Yeah.
Having said that, I always believe in a kind of a model that's called a blended sales approach. That means, if you have a quota of, assume up $500,000, okay, you need to, as a salesperson, you need to come up with a strategy as in, how many SMB customers you need and how many mid-market to large customers you need to achieve your quota. So probably $200,000 of a deal might happen within a span of 1 year, but every quarter you have your targets to achieve, right? So you need to balance between your SMB customers and large enterprise customers, and that's how you should be able to see that quarter on quarter your pipeline is strong. You're able to do some sales, but at the end of the year, you're able to achieve your full year quota and get those bonus or incentives in place. You just can't wait on 2 to 3 large customers deals that will happen after a 6 months or a 9 month sales cycle when your entire quarters are dry. The first few quarters are dry. You just can't do that, right?
Yeah.
So balancing your quota in a way wherein you have SMB, mid market, and large will help you in achieving your quota, and you'll be motivated. That's what I believe in. That's what I have done in my sales career.
I love it. Yeah, it's funny because since I have had a sales background, I think sometimes it's almost like I've had these dreams where I'm still trying to figure out how to graduate college. I didn't get all the credits. It's an interesting nightmare that a lot of people I've heard have. And I was like, I find myself sometimes in these dreams being back in a sales role. And so let's pretend this hypothetically, I was a salesperson for Strobes. I come to you. What is a goal? You want to go after mid market, but I know I want to hit my quota. So it's got to be a combination of SMBs, mid market, enterprise. I would say, hey, give me a budget. I'm going to record some content on my phone, but I'm going to look at the competitors' top blogs and content where they're solving problems, our top content. I'm not going to sell in my videos that I record on my phone from my home office, but I'm going to record 50 problem solving videos where I just get to the bottom of what it is that we're solving for to add value. I would then distribute those on LinkedIn. I'd even pay out of my own pocket $100 to boost each post because I'm so convicted to know that it works. Then as I start reaching out and calling into a market, people are going to know me because they've seen me dozens of times. Or when I go to Blackhat like they do now, people will recognize the logo and stop and say hi.
Right.
That would be my approach as a salesperson. Instead of just cold calling, waiting on marketing, I would take my own fate into my own hands. And I would become my own kind of sales driven kind of thought leader.
Mhm.
And people wouldn't then look at me as a salesperson. They'd be like, oh, is he like a sales engineer? He's like a technical expert. Even if I was reading off of a teleprompter, you know what I mean, to get certain technical points across, I feel like that would be the quickest way for someone in sales to ramp up. So for some of like our clients, we're saying, don't just have your founder on video. Don't just have your SMEs, have some of your salespeople that are out there in the field. They're at the trade show. So when people come by the booth, hey, I recognize you. And it just gets to trust a lot quicker.
100%. So I always say again to my marketing and sales team is that there is there is no success formula as such. You need to try and try and try, because in marketing and sales, the beauty is that it's not like technology that you write a piece of code and it executes and you get the result. No, in marketing and sales, you need to try different things. You never know which one will work out. That's the reason I said multi-touch point, right? So I'll give you an example of experimenting things. And what you said is absolutely. If tomorrow my salesperson come to me and say that I want to record 100 videos, go for it. I'm more than happy to encourage and support you with that, because you're trying something new,
Yep.
and I would love to do that. So we also experimented something. We sent mails, not email, mails to about 150 CISOs in Texas. A very simple mailbox, a mail that is sent to the CISO is saying that, hey, this is what Strobes does. We are local, we are in Dallas, and this is the problem. These are the problems that we solve. If you have any of these problems, this is a QR code. Please scan and drop a line.
I love
You
it.
know, I thought, 150, how much it costs? Peanuts.
Yeah.
Let's do it. We got two leads from that.
Would you consider that a success? I mean, it's a 2% conversion rate, just about right, a little below it.
Absolutely. I said, everything boils down to, your cost of customer acquisition, right?
Yep.
So for me, as long as it is under the the budgets that we have kept, it's fine. And we did that, and it worked out for us. And we would like to do that, month on month. So experimenting, you should never shy away from experimenting things. You never know what will work.
100%. Just anything that's different. If everyone's consumed by digital, give them something analog. I mean, even these like case studies that we have here, we're going to be mailing these out, and they even have those digital envelopes you can open, and then a 30-second video would play, right? Now you have both video and something analog you're mailing out. I really like that strategy.
Imagine you have a QR code saying that, hey, scan this, you get a video to solve this particular problem. Cool.
Yep.
Yeah,
Mail it
so
out.
that's something new.
That's interesting you mentioned Dallas too, because we just filmed an episode of Cooking with CISOs out in Dallas, which is a show that we're partners with Cyber Nest with, where we essentially have Fortune 500 CISOs come out. They cook in a kitchen with Danny or myself, and we talk about security, about their favorite recipes, dishes, and we tie analogies between cooking and security.
Wow.
So we've recently had, just this past week, the CISO of Citibank and SoftBank had an Airbnb right around the corner cooking with us. And so we produce a show. We've probably done about 10 episodes now. We get sponsors. Orca Security is filming right now as we are talking here over at the Airbnb. But that's different, right? It's like, how can we create awareness, build relationships in something different than just a CISO dinner? And I've never seen CISOs be as responsive as wanting to show off their cooking skills, right? Which is awesome. Some of it is culturally based. Some of it is like based on their location. But I do think one of the episodes we'll have to reconnect about, I think we're filming 6 episodes next month in Dallas,
Okay.
which at least maybe come by, poke your head and check it out.
Oh, absolutely.
That would be really cool. Well, I know we're kind of coming up on time here. What I kind of want to leave the viewers with is talking a little bit about a major trend or something in security that you feel like isn't being addressed. Obviously, everyone's talking about AI, but think about like some of the topics here at Blackhat. What is something that's been on your mind that is not being addressed in security that either you guys are directly solving or that you think just needs to be solved in the market right now?
That's a good question. And you said not to use AI.
Yeah. Not to say you can't, but maybe don't make it the leading thing. But yeah.
I see. These days, it's all about AI, Alano. You know that bit.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll let you have it. Yep.
I mean, see, in fact, I was just talking to one of the CISOs before coming here, and I was asking the same question as in, um, today the board has too much of pressure on implementing AI in their company, and are the security teams or the CISOs being approached in getting a kind of a what do you call it? So CISOs are always called as a gatekeepers in implementing any new technology, and especially with AI in place, our CISOs are even being evaluating the new technology that's being implemented when it comes to AI, especially. And yeah, I mean, the good thing is that the board is considering CISO's opinions before implementing these things. But I'm kind of believe that AI governance is not yet there, right? Uh, just like we have different regulatory bodies. I 100% feel that I think the government is already working on it, but the sooner the better. There should be a AI governance framework with respect to each and every industry out there, especially the banking, finance, the power, all the critical industries. In short, the AI governance is very much should be there in lines. And cybersecurity, again, you need to look at it in two ways. Whether you're using AI in cyber, or you want to have cyber to protect the AI in the company, right? So there are two aspects to it. So unfortunately, there is not yet a proven framework in place, as in how cybersecurity frameworks are being designed or developed in implementing AI in any organization these days.
It's a Wild West. It really is, yeah.
The problem is that it's too early, but it's going at a rocket speed now. Every day we see new things that's coming up, new things are evolved. The internet era was like, we have seen in 5 years some great changes, but here every day there's something or the other new coming up in AI, and that's good. That's good. But
Yeah.
apart from cybersecurity standpoint,
That is interesting because I've talked to a few people recently that said those exact words, AI governance. I was looking on LinkedIn the other day to see if there's any groups that are really focused on AI governance. No one has started one yet. So might be not a terrible idea because I mean that kind of dovetails into what you guys are doing even at Strobes, right? I mean, just think of the insider threats with AI itself, right? So imagine having an AI governance kind of like thought leadership page on LinkedIn, a group where you own the conversation, not to sell, but you invite other founders, thought leaders to it to be a part of that discussion. We created the cybersecurity marketing and sales leaders group in LinkedIn. Hundreds of people joined and people just share valuable insights, but it positions us as a thought leader. So something to take back home. Maybe you could create the first AI governance LinkedIn group, get the conversation started there, and you could see people contributing. Was there anything else though that you wanted to kind of touch on? Maybe it's related to Strobes or what your own personal mission is in security before we close out?
Oh, well, first of all, thank you.
Of
I would
course.
like to say that
Yeah.
for this. Yeah, before closing, I would just say that CTEM is growing market. Threat exposure management. Everybody are talking about platformization. There are too many tools out there, too many technologies. Even if you see the expo hall or the business hall in the Blackhat,
It's overwhelming.
yeah, you take one small topic inside the cyber. There are hundreds of products out there. And I'm sure that CISOs and the CISO's office are like too overwhelmed with so many products out there. So I feel that platformization is the key. And we are one of the first companies, I can proudly say, that is doing that. Today we have about 80 integrations or 100 integrations in place,
Yeah.
wherein the objective is to integrate different tools and technologies that are there in the ecosystem of our customers and bring the right value out of those tools and help them reduce their risk. So
Yep.
that is what I would like to say, that platformization is the key. Do not focus on the noise, just fix what matters.
Focus on the business outcomes that you guys are helping solve. I love it. So what we're gonna do after we produce this podcast for you, make it look beautiful, Hollywood, get people to watch it. We're gonna choose a very specific market. So you and I could connect afterwards to say, I want this segment of the market, this vertical, to see the video. So I'll let you close out by just kind of doing a call to action, right? Like if we're gonna get a couple thousand mid-market companies, maybe 100 Fortune 500 companies to watch this, what is the best way for them to reach and connect with you personally or to get in touch with someone at Strobes?
Yeah, I mean, like, if the call to action is simple, that, if you really want to elevate your vulnerability management program or threat exposure management program, I'm Venu Rao. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Strobes, and I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on everywhere, in fact, on social. So you can reach me out on my LinkedIn page, or reach out to hello@strobes.co, and one of our executives will be reaching out, and definitely, will be a trusted partner for you in solving your threat exposure challenges.
And in probably maybe 3 months from now, you and I could do a remote piece recapping some of the results of even this podcast and like the reach that we got. Let's shoot for 100,000 views at a minimum. I think that should be the goal. But I really appreciate you coming today. It was a pleasure connecting with you online a year ago, staying in touch up until now.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate it, Venu.
Thank you so much.